Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I am Dr. Emmanuel Babatunde Ajala, the University Librarian of Glorious Vision University. I want to say I am very pleased to be with you this morning to discuss something very important to the academic pursuit of every one of you. And the title I'm going to handle this morning is Student-Led Library Programming. The importance of library culture as a mandate for all student educators is becoming more vivid nowadays. And before I start to say something about library programming and the student-led library programming, I want to bring to your understanding some corrections. One of the corrections I want to bring to your understanding is the definition of what a library is. Many of us, we are losing the current meaning of a library when it comes to the functionality of a library. And because the functionality is changing, a lot of people still holds the understanding of the olden days, the Stone Age of their understanding about the library. Well, the current understanding about the library is that it's a building or room containing collection of books, periodicals, sometimes films, recorded musics, video for use and for borrowing. But in addition to that, I want you to note that the modern definition of a new age library now is that it's a place where we gather information, it's a place where we store information, it's a place where we process information, and it's a place where we disseminate or distribute information to those that need them at the correct time. The issue of timing is very, very important. I may not be able to go into the detailed explanation of this definition, but from the definition you will discover that the library is a place where we gather different kinds of information. And for a school library, I believe we gather information that has to do with your academics, with teaching and learning. And this is very useful for those who are growing at the secondary, maybe the primary and secondary level. To my audience this morning, I believe is to the secondary level. What is the usefulness of a library? Library is a platform that brings together people. It provides authentic and reliable source of information for those that are looking for such information. Every information you can get inside the library. It helps in increasing our concentration level, because when you go to the library, you find an atmosphere where you can concentrate, and it provides what students cannot afford. Every student cannot buy all textbooks, but when you go to the library, you even find textbooks that is not even recommended and will be very useful to you. It's a great place to gain knowledge and evolve. Many people enter the library, they are looking for something, but they get more than what they are looking for. It also provides employment opportunities for the future. It provides opportunity for learning and discovery. It provides quiet area for studying, and it encourages reading habits and creates reading culture. If you want to create reading culture, move close to the library. I believe this will help you to generate a culture that we refer to as reading culture. Now, we talk about library culture and reading culture. library culture and reading culture, they stand together. And this is a conscious effort to create an effective study pattern as a way of life. You read continuously as a way of life. You read before you start your business. You read before you start, and every little thing you come about, you want to read something about it. And somebody said, if you are not properly informed, you can be deformed. If you are in a profession and you are not properly informed in that profession, you may not have the nitty-gritties of that profession. And this is very, very important. In the library culture development is reading and studying to develop yourself. And if you take it as a way of life, then you are improving your reading and your library culture. Now, coming to the real matter, what makes a student library program? Well, people talk about programming and program. But today I'm going to talk about making a student-led library program. I will quickly rush through it because of time, because I have a very limited time. The first thing I want to talk about is the library profile. The profile of a library is very important when you are planning a library program. And that has to do with the types of library you are creating. We have what we call the public library. We have the academic. Outside Nigeria, they have what they call the K-12 library. And we have special library. To explain this, you discover that the public library is for everybody, either the artisans, the academics, and it's a jack of all trade library. When you talk about academics, it's what you find in higher institutions like universities and polytechnics. When you are talking about special library is a place where you find in research centers, or you find maybe in a departmental area. Then the K-12 library, which is what people now call the school library, is what is relevant to you people. Now, we have geographical area, and this is very, very important. The area of a library is very important when you are planning. The community is also important, and the size and capacity is also very important. We have program characteristics. We have the learning new knowledge. When you are planning your program or you are planning a program for the library, what you consider is what is the new knowledge you are going to pass across. Learning new skill. What is the skill you are going to give to people when you are presenting your program? Then what will happen to the attitude of those that you have taught? Because changing of attitude and habits and culture is very, very important. Then gaining awareness of library resources. In every programming, in library programming, awareness of every resources in the library is important. The IT resources, what are the IT level of that library? We have database, we have computers, we have videos, we have different types of communication gadgets that's supposed to be in a varied library. And a school library is very, very important to take note of it. Then we have what we call gaining fun and inspiration. Because when you come to the library, we have what we call the library commons. I will talk about that in my next lecture. And in the library commons, this is where students gather together to share mind, to share their thoughts, and to interact together. Interactive learning is also very important now. And that is the reason why interactive learning is embedded in what we call library programming. And we also talk about inspiring communities. After you have gained knowledge, what do you do with that knowledge? You transfer the knowledge into the community. For secondary level, you try to make sure that the knowledge you gain will help you to go to higher institution. And this is very, very important. then to build stronger and healthier society. After leaving the secondary school and you go to higher institution, I am expecting that you should be able to use library resources properly. For example, you should be able to search information, you should be able to get information, and you should be able to borrow and to maybe use the database that they have. Now, in every library, we now do it in such a way that even sitting down at your home, you can access the materials that are in the library. And this is also part of the program. Then we also consider the program topic. What is the topic of our program? What is the format that will be beneficial to everybody? We also consider in some library, we also consider the challenge students. And this is very, very important. The challenge student should also gain from the library. And this is also part of what we consider when we are planning our program in a student-led library. We also have what we call audience. Who is our audience? Since we know that the K-12, we call the student the K-12. The K-12 people are our audience. Then what we acquire is very important. It must suit the K-12. We are not supposed to be acquiring university materials in a secondary school library. It will not be useful. And that's the reason why the acquisition is also very important. Then the audience, they must what we acquire must appeal to them. Appealing to entire audience is very, very important. Then the administration, that's development model. We have what we call development of library resources. Every day, library resources develops, and every manager of a library should learn how to develop their resources. And that's the reason why the issue of multimedia, the issue of mobile media is very, very important now. And we are introducing it into the library so that people can have a quick access to what we have in the library and be able to use it anytime, any day. And this is very, very important. Then when we are talking about program administration, we develop with the community. The community has to do with maybe the school environment, with the teachers. The community has to do with the students. And the community, they are very, very important when we are developing our program. And that's the reason why we collaborate with the community. First of all, we find out from the student, what do you need? Then we find out from the staff that teaches them what they need. And we don't acquire things that they don't need. And they informed the library what they need. And this is very important so that we will not be acquiring things that will just occupy the shelf, occupy space, and will not be useful. In the library policy, we have a policy that says that any materials that are in the library that are not borrowed for maybe 3 to 4 years should be weeded. And the meaning of weeding is removal from the shelf. And that's the reason why we are very careful, not wasting the resources of the community by acquiring things that are not useful for the audience and for the community. Then we also think about the future of our audience. Where are they going? What are they developing to become? Many of them at the secondary level, they have the thought of becoming a medical doctor, of becoming a journalist, of becoming a media person. And when we look at their career thought and their career model, we also put it in mind to develop. Okay. What I'm trying to explain is the funding. The funding is important, and there is nothing you can do in the library without fund. So we determine as part of the programming, where do we get correct and adequate funding. When there is adequate funding, the last aspect is the management. How do we manage both the fund and the materials and everything? And this is properly arranged in a particular library management software. And this management software, we try to categorize it under acquisition management, catalog management, barcode management, search facility, online access, that's OPAC system, inventory, patron management, subscription management, and library report. Under acquisition, as I've said, we have what we call the library management software. And under the library management software, or let me call it the virtual management of student-led program, the virtual management has to come under the library management software, and this includes acquisition management. There's a module we refer to as acquisition management, and this is what we use to monitor what we acquire. We have the catalog management. The catalog management gives to users what we have. That's what we have, or the library holdings. We have what we call the OPAC system. That's the online public access catalog, where everybody can access the list of either books or whatever we have in the library anywhere, even in your home, if you can link up with the library software. We have the barcode management. The barcode management is what we use to assign book numbers. Then we have search facilities. Search facilities varies from different area. You can search our journal section. You can search through the main acquisition or main catalog. We also have the inventory. The inventory tells you how many books, the totality of all books in the library, or of all cameras, of all laptops, and so on. Then we have the patron management. The patron management has to do with a library that registers their users. And what happens is, if you are a registered user, you can easily be reached in your own location when you need something. And we also have subscription management, in which the audience or the patron can also ask for materials. And when you ask at your location, it can be delivered. Then the last one is the report, the library report. Every period, the library gives report. The importance of this report is to assess the services being given. Well, I want to make a case here that a student-led library program is very, very important in our secondary schools and all our school libraries. And if we key into it, our students will enjoy our library better, and they will have a future from the extended learning that they get from the library. The other aspect which we are going to engage ourselves later is what we refer to as the library commons, in which we have interactive learning, in which the library also assists the student in that interactive learning. I want to stop here. Thank you for listening.